We are in the Clatskanie Bloom Gallery in Clatskanie, Oregon. For those of you who don't know where Clatskanie, Oregon is, it's a picturesque old small city situated on the Clatskanie River beneath Clatskanie Mountain in the most northern part of Oregon, sort of where the Coast Range meets the Columbia River. We are about to show you a collection of Dr. Otto George's paintings and a few items connected to him. Ordinarily, our shows begin with a crowded reception, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, we'll be skipping the socializing and getting directly to the heart of the matter. Dr. Otto George was a big man, with big hands and a big heart. He was born in Kansas in 1893. His father worked at farming there and later in Oklahoma, and it was there, at the age of 15, that he got in a fight with one of his brothers, and his dad kicked them both out of the house. Now, young George had read and heard about a painter named Charlie Russell, and Charlie's family lived in sort of the same area, although Russell's family was a lot better off than George's. Charles Russell was Otto's senior by 27 years and was a major influence in Otto's later life. After graduating high school, young Otto attended the Chicago Institute of Art and later spent a year working and learning under Charlie Russell. Charlie Russell was a rebel and wanted to experience and paint the Old West, and of course this influenced Otto. Russell lived with the Blackfeet tribe, and later Dr. George would be the first medical doctor to learn the ways and treat the Eskimos of northern Alaska in the 1930s. Russell said, "George, if you're going to be a painter, you better get yourself a trade in order to put food on the table, because I'll tell you, most artists starve." When America entered World War I, George wanted to enlist, but the recruiter said he was too tall. He was described as a 6.5-foot tall string bean. George came back the next day riding a motorcycle. The recruiter said, "Well, I guess we can give you a rifle and put you in an airplane." Somehow, a bullet escaped, and the prop was shattered during the flight. Russell had introduced George to George Calvary, who got him a job with the Forest Service, tending the area between Rhododendron and Rooster Rock beneath Mount Hood. He wanted to be an expert on bones, and because he had made connections, he managed to enroll at Reed's College, where he filled a vacancy from a boy that had been expelled for fighting. There he studied medicine and continued his studies at U of O. He maintained the boiler at Reed College and prepared food for other starving students. He met his wife, Virginia, at the Good Samaritan Hospital in Portland, where she was a nurse. An amazing thing about Virginia was the fact that she was one of the first 12 flight attendants in America. The first passenger planes back then carried 9 passengers and 1 stewardess, and a pilot in an open cockpit. One of her flights crashed en route from Portland to Spokane. When Dr. George got the chance to practice in northern Alaska, he jumped at it. And if you want more details about how he and his wife fared up there, I suggest you read his book, Eskimo Medicine Man. This is a great history. After Alaska, he had an office in Portland and was on the staff at Providence, where he was the secretary. He was well known in the high circles of Oregon. He and his family moved to Westport, Oregon in 1952, where they lived until the mill closed. When Dr. Wooden retired from his practice in Clatskanie, Oregon in the mid-1950s, Dr. George moved in. He was considered an industrial doctor, with his experiences in rough frontier areas getting results outweighed soothing bedside therapy. Having observed how the Eskimos treated serious burns with a mixture of fish oil to facilitate healing and scarring, he created a similar product in Clatskanie under the brand name First, spelled F-R-S-T. This proved to be an amazing product that saved many burn and accident victims from permanent scarring. He spent a fortune getting a patent and then trying to get it approved by the FDA, but it was disallowed for general use, which was very disappointing to him because he wanted to help people, and it was an extremely safe and efficient product. While he lived in Clatskanie, Dr. George continued to paint, and paint he did. There were three main subjects: scenes from Alaska, scenes from his days with the Forestry Service in the Cascades, and inspirations from around the Westport, Clatskanie areas. To describe his studio would be to describe sort of a disorganized mess. There were 30 or 40 paintings, some of them finished, some of them not. His frock was completely covered in oils. There were smashed tubes on the floor. I mean, it was really something to see. Dr. George would get up at 4:30 in the morning, feed 50 head of Black Angus cattle, maybe 7 or 8 horses, speed, and I mean speed, in a Cadillac or Lincoln Continental or T-Bird, the 14 miles over to St. John's Hospital in Longview, visit patients there, then speed back for a 7 a.m. breakfast. Unfortunately, Dr. George died in 1982. Dr. George saved my life when I was 11 years old, and I'm very glad that he did. And I know a lot of people in the world that he saved and treated, and I'm sure that they're very grateful for him too.